How's it going, everybody? I was a little hesitant about making this video because by now it should be pretty common knowledge, and when I used the term option select parry in a previous video, there wasn't a single one of you that even asked what that was. So if you already know what an option select parry is and how they look like for different characters, then this video is not for you. But thanks for stopping by anyways. Now, for the rest, what is an option select? An option select is a single input that covers multiple possible scenarios. In our case of parries, this means that we can not only cover the attack being thrown at us with said parry, but we can cover other stuff like feint into guard break or feint into light. This depends on the character. We will look into a few examples in just a bit. Parries aren't the only option selects in the game, but by far the most prevalent, meaning I'm limiting the video to just those. And as you might have guessed, some characters are way stronger in that department compared to others. I'm going to cover the strongest ones in this video, but you should get a pretty good idea how those work in general, and also understand why some characters don't really have that option at all. It shouldn't come as a surprise that one of the strongest is Peacekeepers. Her zone parry is absolutely straightforward yet incredibly strong. It functions like every other parry, with this single difference that you don't input a heavy to parry, but you input a zone attack. You still have to match the guard, obviously. This covers multiple options: feint into guard break, feint into light, various soft feints, and of course letting the attack fly nets you the parry. You're even fast enough to punish Berserker's hyper armor heavy after a feint. But you will trade with his hyper armor lights. Kensei's pommel strike is another of the few exceptions where you might trade. Remember, you want to do this on the parry timing of the attack. Obviously this is not totally invincible, and if your opponent is anticipating it, you can get parried. Also be aware of the stamina cost when continuously parrying with your zone. Nobushi's option select works a little different. You still input the parry normally, but you immediately feint it with hidden stance. If done correctly, you either parry the attack or dodge the follow-up. And because reasons, you can counter guard break out of hidden stance. Your opponent needs to know you're doing it and delay the light after his feint to avoid the iframes of the hidden stance. Obviously you can also use a zone to parry, but it's a 600 millisecond attack and way easier to parry than many others. But it is a nice option in 4v4 modes when team fighting, so my advice is to limit it to those instances. Talking about zones. We all know how good Gladiators is, and it's no different when it comes to option select parries. You cover normal parries and all feints into guard break. This includes soft feints like Peacekeepers. Gladiator's zone attack has 0 vulnerability frames on startup. All guard break attempts will bounce off. You're also safe from 600 millisecond attacks. If it's an attack that is 500 milliseconds or faster, they will interrupt you. Same goes for dodge attacks. If your opponent knows what you're doing, he can simply bait the zone and dodge attack you. And if you fail to feint the follow-up, you can be deflected or parried as well. Last but not least is Conqueror. He has multiple options to mix up his option select, but the strongest is probably his zone. It negates all attacks, feint into guard break, and feint into lights. Even 400 millisecond Zerker lights with hyper armor will not trade. You have full block during your zone, which means you hit the Zerker while he bounces off. In the end, his zone is still a 600 millisecond attack, and if baited out, can very easily be parried. This is where his other options come into play. If someone wants to bait out the zone, it means he will stand still and wait to parry. Mixing it up with shield uppercuts makes that a very risky endeavor. The bash can of course also be dodged, but keeping your opponent guessing what you'll do gives you a huge advantage. And should you get someone that likes to feint into dodge attacks, you always still have the option to feint with full block. Other than that, the full block option is not the safest. You're vulnerable to guard breaks, and because of the 300 millisecond startup, you won't be able to punish any lights. Even the slow ass 600 millisecond ones will hit you. To sum this whole thing up, this option select is a strong tool that lets you negate a lot of potential mix-ups, but if you continuously use it, you will become predictable and good opponents will punish you for that. If you still have questions, feel free to ask them in the comments. A big thanks goes to Skate and Omeister for helping with the recording. I will link to Skate's channel in the description, go check him out for Berserker gameplay. Other than that, I hope the video was helpful. Thanks for watching, laters everybody.